From the savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you preparing? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as a moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians, watch Ethics for an emerging Ambazonia every Friday at 4 p.m. Amba time.
Exclusively on ABC Amba TV. Stay tuned.
More than God. hands in the air, everybody hands in the air, hands in the air. Let's go there. All the champions hands in the air, everybody hands in the air, hands in the air. We are champions. We are champions. We are champions. We are champions. Champions in all, 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 champions in all. Over and over again we see, the touch of your greatness, Lord, in us. Whoa. Come join me sing now, let's celebrate together. Come join me praise now, let's jubilate together. All the champions and in the area, everybody else in the area, and in the area. Let's go there. All the champions and in the area, everybody else in the area, and in the area. We are champions. Champions in all, 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 champions in all. You've always been a winner, you are the best. You one of a kind of a jolly you can contest. The top is made for you, trust me, nothing less. I know that you've noticed. Dance to the beat, on this beat you can do anything. In the process, just get anything. You, yeah. I'm feeling so high on this beat, but I'm high on it goes.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians and friends of Ambazonia, and welcome to once again another presentation of the Ethics Department. This is a particular one. It's our last show for the year and a recap of what we've done all through this year 2023. This year being the year of acceleration as proclaimed by our President of the People's only legitimate IG interim government, President Samuel Ikome Sako. And we've achieved much on the diplomatic front and on home front also. My special greetings goes first of all to our valiant, brave and selfless Ambazonia Restoration Forces on home front, and to all Ambazonians on home front bearing the brunt of this genocidal war declared upon us by the evil occupation force of La République du Cameroon. My name is Tom Dola. I'm the Vice Chair of the Ethics Commission, headed by the able Madro Tingwa, who is the Chair of the Ethics Commission and has done a wonderful job up to now preparing us for this show and doing much work in the background. Today is a recap of the year's show, and I'll be joined by two wonderful panelists who have done a great job this year with us and continue to do it. And they will present themselves. Those are two people who are not actually, they are well known here, but yes, I would like them to present themselves first of all. Barrister Tim, please.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, for having us. And as you rightly said, we're not strangers to this show. We're always there. And I guess by now, most viewers, most followers must have known me particularly. I'm Barrister Timothy Mbese. I've been here forever, and I think we'll learn more as we move on. As you rightly said, this is a recap of what has gone on. We are at the end of the year, we are at Christmas, and every family head at Christmas looks back. What did I do for this year? Every responsible person, after a period of time, you check to see what the year had for you. Was there a blessing? Was there something that I did wrong that I need to copy, that I need to avoid going forward? There's something that I did good that I need to duplicate as we move on. Again, this is ethics. Thank you for having us. As I always said, by the close of this session, someone must learn something from here, either for yourself, for your office, or for whatever thing you do in life. Thank you once more for having me.
Thanks very much, Mr. Mbese, and thanks once more for all your untiring work, not only together with the Ethics Commission, but with everything that the Department of the Judicial Department is doing, and behalf of all you do for Ambazonia. So next online, Comrade Peter, please present yourself.
Greetings to all our televiewers who are watching us either live or who are on Facebook or who are on YouTube. You are highly welcome. Dr. Ndula, thank you for having me on this ethics show. For myself, I'm Peter Tanshe. I just in an enlarged ethics committee, but I come from the Bamendankwe LGA. This is quite a cause very close to my heart. The restoration of our independence, and then its recognition that we are fighting for at the forefront. So ethics is very, very, very important if we are to make a difference as to what is happening with us under La République, under annexation of La République. So that's why we've taken this opportunity during war to be doing ethics. This is to build the right mindset for everybody. So when we reach Buea, there is no sense of faltering. We have the right mindset to go on. So thank you. That was myself.
Thanks very much. Thank you. We have a lot on our plate today. There are many topics that we treated, very important topics that we treated during this year. We are going to do, each of us, a quick recap of some of them. They will be divided into into the various topics. First, we have some discussion points. We'll give the floor to our able Barrister Timothy Mbese, the head of the Judiciary Department, and most revered senior comrade, to talk about civil duties, entitlement, and template for conflict resolution, topics we've covered. So, over to you, Barrister Mbese.
I think we should understand this. In every profession where you are, every calling of your life, there's a civic duty that you have to perform. A civic duty means a responsibility towards others. And let me take it from my own perspective. Long before I became a lawyer, we were told that lawyers were so unethical that when they died, they were buried facing down because they were people to be feared. They were people not to be trusted. Why? Because some lawyers, either lawyers are given the impression that having taken that profession of the law, you could just do what you like, even to the poor man who came to consult you to do justice for him or for her. But it turned out it's not like that. A few bad seats could spoil the whole soup. If we bad lawyers seem to have spoiled the profession, that's not a lawyer profession. I'm just taking it as a civic duty. And that should explain to other call. How many of us detest politics? So many people don't want to talk politics. Why? Because of known politicians for lying. They're just crooks. They're international bank robbers. And so they have spoiled the whole world politics. And we are now in politics. And the resolution of Ambazonia is politics. And unlike what Kometansi said, now it is not if we must. We're heading to Buea. And if you have to join this train of going to Buea, you must carry on your head a box of ethical issues that you go with it. Those who take leadership positions, those who fight in any form or shape, you have to apply the ethics of your level wherever you are in this struggle. And so we're looking for ethical leadership. Leaders who will tell us the truth. Leaders who will come back to us and say, I made a mistake. Leaders who will consult with us when they take actions that will benefit, that are supposed to benefit us. But they're not bound to be successful all the time. When you fail, you come back and say, this thing did not work. You have a reflection with your citizenry, with your other people, and see what things to chart ahead. That's what is meant by ethical leadership. Ethical leadership is found everywhere. How many of us know chiefs? These are people, villagers, not the ones that have graduated from university and gone back to home to become chiefs, but who were just villagers, but who rule with the iron hand, who rule with the people, who govern the people there. Because even in our local community where we have chiefs, they have their own place, but you lose that position if you are so unethical. For example, if you are the village chief, a village chief in the traditional way, Mr. Tansi will know that, you're supposed to have several wives in the palace. But if in addition to your several wives, you want to go around and cut your villagers' wives, you're so unethical that nobody will respect you as a chief. And so for every position that we take, there's ethical leadership. They expect you to perform something which nobody will punish you physically, but which will bound you morally, because you have defined ethics as the moral foundation of the society. Whichever society it is a society of lawyers, a society of chiefs, a society of hunters. In a society, you have to go with the ethical governance. Do unto others as you want them to do to you. If you don't want me to follow your wife, don't follow my own wife. If you don't want to steal my own plantain, don't steal my cocoyams. Things like that. So that's what ethical leadership in effect means. And it is in civic duties. They call it civic because it's not criminal. You're bound civilly to respect your friend. If you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. And so that's what civic responsibility means. And of course, their entitlement. You're entitled to certain things by virtue of the office you occupy, but not more, not less. If you're a government minister, for example, you're entitled to a bodyguard. That bodyguard, ethical, is not supposed to follow your wife to the market when she goes to buy cocoyams. That bodyguard is not supposed to follow your children to school to protect them. No, that's not the role of the bodyguard. You're a government minister. That function has its own, goes with its own connections. So that's what ethical leadership means. And because we're a government, we have been able to establish a code, an ethical code, a template that we use to direct this big struggle of ethics. And so that's why we have, over the last year, developed an ethics code. We have been able to develop a template. If you want to make a complaint, how do you do it? So that it can be done the same thing in Bamenda. This should be done in Buea, should be done in Manfe, should be done in Kambe, and so on and so forth. And so that's the background from which we are coming. We hope during the year we learn something from it. We hope going down the road from next year we will improve on it and do better than what we were. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Thanks very much for that presentation. I mean, to see what we have to do as our civic duty and talking about entitlement or the positive aspect of it, that is what we use to have in an autonomous southern Cameroon's Ambazonia in the 50s and the 60s, the time of Endele, Foncha, Joa, our first prime ministers. And the opposite of it is, of course, what we are witnessing in La République du Cameroon today. And that has been imbibed upon many of our people, and we strive to wash that away from them. So thank you very much. Yeah, Comrade Tanshi, now to you. I mean, to talk about some three of our topics we discussed sometime this year: leadership qualities, ethics and intergovernmental relations, and morality traits in schools. So over to you, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ndula, and thank you, Barrister Mbeasa, for that. I think in there you inherently made me a bit of a chief, so I hope I go back and get many wives and and be very moral in my behavior. So thanks for that. Now, one of the three of the three topics we discussed during the year, quality leadership was one. Leadership qualities was one of the programs. Ethics and intergovernmental relationship, and then the other one would be the morality threats in school. Let's consider leadership qualities. We of the Ethics Commission and the Ambazonians consider this very important, and we made a whole program for it. Why? Because this is a top-down quality which influences, which when implemented from the top downwards, influences and progresses good qualities, it influences and progresses the society very fast. So one of the things we consider very much to be the top, and we also run a program on that. So one of the things we considered and which is happening is we have a visionary leader. What does that mean? A leader who thinks ahead. What have I for my country in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? What should I put in place? I should make this publicly known, and I should be measured against it. I should put down things which within that 2 years, what I promised 2 years ago, have I made it? 10 years, even if it's a different politician who comes along, I made sure I put it against 10 years so that anybody coming along, the population knows that you should pick it. So it's a visionary leader who communicates his ambition, his aim, his mindset, his good things for the nation to the population. He communicates it so that the population knows and they can hold him accountable for that when he doesn't meet those targets that he has set forth. And we've said this is a top-down thing, because if I, as president, set goals for the nation, you, as Department of Health or Department of Transport, you should also set same. That leader should encourage those ones to set same set goals, make them known to the public, and should be tracked, should be measurable. So those are good qualities of a leader. As we said, the mindset is very, very important. The mindset, because if you don't, you should be considering your people first. The mindset in anything. If you are to, if for example you were to produce hydroelectricity in let's just say Minchum 4, the first thing is you are producing it for the population, right? So the population should be served with it first. You might eventually produce it and it's so high, and then you sell the excess to neighboring countries, but it should first serve your people. If you are digging roads, the roads should be there to serve the local produce from farm to market or to open areas, and then the excess you can then think of the roads which go for export. but the first is dealing with your population. They should be first. If you are those, so population first. If you are mining oil or you are doing gas, the first thing is the local market, to supply the local market first, and then you export. If you keep the people first, and then you, that type of mindset, that is very important. We consider that in one of the of our programs that we did for leadership qualities. And one of the qualities is respectful, should be very respectful of the population and take their needs into account in which decisions they do. And then one of the good qualities, that's, we did so many, but we'll just summarize. One of the good ones was to delegate. Do you have that very good mindset? You should delegate it to the people who are below, like the ministries. But when you delegate, you don't put your foot off the pedal. You should then track them. You should then track whether they are then also cascading that down to the directors and all that to do same. So and then one of the things is accountability, accountability, accountability. All this should be accountable to the population. There should be no corruption in any of these deals we do. You should be very accountable to yourself and to the population, and same to any other same to any other member of government, or any leader, or those who are in the legislation or in the judiciary. So these are just some of the qualities we mentioned as leadership qualities when we ran that program. And at this stage of the fight for recognition, we are applying this as much as possible. Our president is visionary. The powers have been delegated to the county, to first the ministers, and then to the counties, encouraging counties to take up responsibility and run each of that. So we are practicing that to an extent with our limited powers we have now. So that's very good. Then the other topic we discussed was ethics and intergovernmental relationship. So this very also important because it's a whole system that works together. They should have a good relationship in order to meet the objective, which is the population, which is the country in which we are part. So what does this mean, intergovernmental relationship? This means the executive, legislation, and judiciary working together. There would be rules in which that these three work independently, but in a good relationship, talk to others in such a way that all do their own role appropriately to meet the aspiration of the population. So that relationship, none should really overpower the others in one way or the other. So we don't want where there's dictatorship would really, they should have a relationship, but not really just clamp hard on the judiciary, and they are like taking back all the what the judiciary to do or what the legislation should do. So we are practicing that now at this level. Then the other intergovernmental relationship is from the national to the zonal to county and to the LGA. Different departments would run in such a way that they have a good relationship, working relationship. Say Ministry of Health, if they are to build a hospital in a county, that county should have a good say at that, as to that hospital, maybe in terms of location, maybe in terms of how the contract is managed, not all because centrally managed. A good working relationship would flow in such a situation, so that there is good communication, there is good relationship between them, so that they work effectively, and for the purpose of what? The purpose of the population. A country is only great if the population is great. If the first thing to be great about it is its economy, and the way to do that is this talking across department at high level, and then from top to right down to the LGA. That was what was run in that program that we are aiming to do when we arrive Buea, and we are already doing some of it now. And then one of the topics that we run as one of our program is morality threats in school. Everybody knows the building blocks of tomorrow is our children, right? So it's appropriate that these building blocks of tomorrow, we give them the right mindset, we give them the right morality right now as in school, so that when they take over tomorrow, they are doing the right thing for the right country. So this morality it was divided into different aspects. What is expected of the teacher, those who are teaching? What is expected of the teacher in terms of morality towards the student they are teaching? There are certain aspects in which the teacher should be impacting on the students. What is the relationship between the teachers themselves, even as they are teachers amongst themselves? We got this. Yeah, there should be some, and then the other part was the administration, school administration. What has the teachers and the school administration, maybe at zonal level, how should that morality be done so that that school in question functions with good morality, know to be respectful, to be ambitious, to know that when they come up, they will be good citizens, they run different, to know that you can be independent and run a business and still go on and be very successful, or get out of that business and be able to employ another person. This type of morality in school it's very important. Students can be punished, but the type of punishment for doing wrong would be determined in such a way that you don't scare the students from taking initiative, or don't also think that a student should only be punished because he hasn't maybe 80% in one subject, because that subject, that is not the strength. That strength of that student might be in another thing. So all that is taken. And then one other thing that we considered is the school system measures only some of the abilities of a person. The person has more ability, but the school measures only some. So even if the students are to be taught in ethically, that if you don't feature well, even in all the subjects in school, you definitely have other skills which those ones that are building are better in school don't you have, but they don't also have. So encourage them to discover those for themselves. So that was student to student, and then schools. That was the type of things we run on that program, giving the students the right mindset to fit in society, behave well when they grow up, be ambitious for themselves as they grow up. So those were the three, and in those three programs, that's what we discussed. So over to you, Dr. Dula.
Thank you very much, Comrade Tanchi. I mean, well put there, especially the part with concerning schools and students. We all know, I mean, the future rightfully belongs to the youth, and not like, and that will be the case in Ambazonia. So the youth has to be well informed about what is awaiting them, and take their civic duties, their rights, especially their duties, seriously. And they are to be educated on that. And that starts in the school, right, in the nursery, right up till university, and in the curriculum that the Department of Education has for Ambazonia. All of that is well put in there. So thank you very much for that presentation. So yeah, me being the host, I'm one of the panelists also. Other things to talk about, some of those topics I will take. So the first is we talked about why, what we Ambazonians are fighting for. A quick recap of our history. we were Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia was a colony of the British, first of all, earlier on of Germany, and then of the British, while La République du Cameroun was a colony of France. At the time of our independence was to be granted to us. There was some crookery done so that La République gained her independence on 1st January 1960. Neighboring Nigeria gained hers on 1st October 1960. And we, Southern Cameroons, were promised independence on 1st October 1961. That was voted upon on 21st April 1961, 64 to 23, 64 against 23 vote by the United Nations with 10 abstentions. But owing to the crookery of Britain and France, there was to be independence by joining whatever that was. We were forced to either join Nigeria or La République du Cameroun. Nigeria promised us, well, if you join us, you will be just a province, one of the provinces of Nigeria. And La République, under their former dictator Ahidjo, promised us that we will be two equal nations in a federation where we will retain our government, our institutions, and the central government will, of course, be in Yaoundé, but none of that was true. At the independence on 1st October 1961, only this federation was talked about, no mention about independence. And according to the UN Charters, Resolution 1608, Section 15, that independence, that decolonization never took place, and which has haunted us up till today. And 7 years ago, there was rioting because we did not want this system to continue, because that from that federation became a united, from that Federal Republic of Cameroon, of the two Cameroons, became, against our wish, a United Republic of Cameroon. And later on, in 1984, dictator Paul Biya changed it unilaterally into the Republic of Cameroon, La République du Cameroun, which is their name that they had at independence. And by the way, at independence, 1st January 1960, their boundaries were defined at that time. Perhaps to prove all this, and Southern Cameroons were not part of that. So all of that boiled into later protests by our teachers, our lawyers, our students, and our workforce to bring back that federation, which was met with killings and imprisonments. So we decided to reinstate that independence that was actually granted us by the United Nations. So under our former president, Sisiko Julius Ayuk-Tabe, who is now languishing in a concentration camp they call jail in La République, our independence was proclaimed. So we are not fighting to be the Anglophone part of Cameroon, as some think. We are not fighting for special status. We are not fighting to separate from a country. We are fighting to restore that independence that was granted us. We already restored it. Now it is those crooks at the United Nations who stole that away from us to accept it. So that is the core of why we are fighting. We in the diaspora, we have made much diplomatic gains, and our valiant restoration forces back home are bearing the brunt of it because they proclaim independence, and that is their death sentence. So, fellow Ambazonians, that is what we are fighting for and nothing else. So, now we all know in our anthem, we talk about praising the Son, our Savior, who granted us the freedom. And we talk of the Son of God, Jesus Christ. We are a largely Christian nation. I say largely because we have fellow citizens who are Muslims, who have other faiths, who are Jews, who are atheists, and everybody is to be treated equally under the law. We're talking about our churches, about our houses of worship in whatever religion that is there. We talk about how it is but normal, logical to expect that these institutions, that they promote moral, high moral standards in society, that they stand for justice and for accountability and for truthfulness. Those are all the things that make a nation great and upright. And that is what we of the Ethics Commission and of the judiciary stand for and fighting for. And we expect that from those who have the spiritual well-being of our citizens at heart. But unfortunately, many of them, they lag behind as when it concerns standing with the oppressed and standing with those who are being killed daily. And some of them, unfortunately, choose to side with the oppressor. So we are calling them out and telling them this cannot continue like that. They are to do their duty where they stand for the oppressed, where they stand for the truth. And the truth is that Republic du Cameroon and Southern Cameroon's aka Ambazonia are two separate nations that came together. Actually, not really coming together. It was a forced union that masked that decolonization that didn't happen. So, and that is what we are clamoring for. We have restored that independence granted us 62 years ago, and we await the recognition by the United Nations. So that is the truth of the matter. And especially those Christian leaders, Muslim leaders, Jewish leaders, and whatever leaders, whatever religion or faith anybody might have, those are the truths and the facts that are to be faced so as to get to the root cause of the problem. And we want nothing but total independence that was promised us. So those are the things we are fighting for, and that is what we expect of churches, of mosques, of synagogues, of Muslims, atheists, Christians. That is what is expected of them, because that fabric of morality, it is said it has been written on the heart of men by our Creator, Almighty God. So no matter which faith you profess, those are the things that are expected of you. So, and we also talked about the importance of moral impetus, of morality during the transition. We will soon have our independence. There is no doubt about that. It is not a matter of if, but a matter of when. In 62 years, we have never come this close to getting recognized as an independent nation. There are diplomatic gains that have been scored. We can't talk about all of them here. But fellow Ambazonians, rest assured, our independence, we are much more far ahead we are much more closer to our independence than was the case decades or even years ago. So during the transition period, as stipulated by our interim constitution, the present government will head the government in a free Ambazonia for 3 years, then hand over to an elected government composed of all Ambazonians, both in the diaspora and especially all of those on home front. But not anybody will be eligible to even stand for election, let alone be voted into office. Those who have high moral standards and those who are accountable, those who have a history of having supported our revolution. And mind you, you are on home front, we advise you to lay low, to not be so open and vocal as to endanger your life, but we know who are supporting our revolution and who is not. We know who are the black legs and who are siding with the genocidal regime, killing our people on a daily basis, and who are also dealing with some of us here in the diaspora, trying to take them down. Such people having such records, of course, will not be eligible to stand for any elected position in after the transition and home front. So the your morality of today, what you are doing with respect to our quest for independence, if your actions, your deeds, your words, and your way of life is totally against it today, then know that there will be no leadership position for you in the future independent Ambazonia. So those that's a recap of some of those things we talk about. Going now to the second phase. Barrister Mbesa, we talked about some very important issues also, about land grabbing, about smooth transition, smooth landing or transition in Buea when we get our independence soon, and the unethical treatment of Southern Cameroons by the United Nations in 1961. So please enlighten us more on those topics. Thank you.
Thank you once more. Last year we discussed a lot about land grabbing, but the discussion will focus essentially on Fako, where a lot of lands that used to be CDC plantations have been seized and purportedly handed back to the citizens. And so, who distributes the land back to the citizens is the administration. And in order to do it, they have to create a community that is supposed to have the land. They create communities by creating chiefdoms that probably have never existed. They create communities by creating leaders of those chiefdoms, call them chiefs, that never existed. Even if they existed, they are now extinct. But the sole purpose of doing that has been to apportion land to them, where the same administrators return back, grab it, sell it, and make away with the money. For land has value. The value of land is not the same all over the world. It's not the same all over the country. The value of a piece of land in the center of London is different from what you will get in Birmingham. The value of land in the center of Yaoundé, for example, is more than what you find in Bali. And so the value of land in Fako today, in Ambazonia, is more than the land you find in Manfred, than the land you find in Kupe Manengumba. And so these people have grabbed this land, taken it indirectly, they're purportedly creating chiefs, the Mojas, who have no chiefdoms to show. Even if they have a place to show, they have probably less than 10 people. Then they will give them 50 acres of land. Half of that land, if not reported, goes back to the governors, to the administrators, the DOs, and so on and so forth. That's land grabbing, which we discuss at length. But I may venture to add that land grabbing was not just in Fako alone. Over the past several decades, land grabbing has extended to different places. Under the Fanshawe Ndele government, they had something they call government quarters. They reserved land for the administration. If you went to Bamenda, you went to upstation, there was free land there, taken from the people and reserved for the government. What did they intend it to be? To be future government offices. But where are those lands today? Francophone administrators who came in within the years have grabbed it, apportioned the areas to their friends, to their brothers, to their sisters, and they have built on those things. That is absolute land grabbing. The same thing applied, not just in Fako. How many of us remember there was something they called Santa Coffee? Santa Coffee was a big plantation developed by the West Cavern Development Agency. The coffee is no longer there. They didn't buy the land. What became of the land? Who are those grazing cows there? Those are land grabbers. It's not supposed to happen like that. The CDC later on acquired land in Do and plant and grow Do tea. They bought it, or they got it from the people. Do tea is no longer there. What became of the land on which those things were there? The thing was simply grabbed by CP, the apologists, by the barons of the party or those in power. That is what we say land grabbing. That's what we discuss as land grabbing, which we don't think it should exist in the future Amazonia. So land grabbing could take different forms. Land grabbing is not the same like somebody who buys a piece of land in Boya or in Bamenda and builds a house. That a native Bamenda man can say, no, you grab my land. No, he bought it for a price. He's not a land grabber. Be in Fakol, be in Victoria or Boya, where you pay money and you assign a piece of land, you are not a land grabber. You are a purchaser for value. You paid money for it. Even if at that time the value was not 10,000 francs, that was the price for the time. You are not a land grabber. A land grabber is an intruder who gets what he or she does not own. And so we discussed land grabbing last year at length, and it's good for us to know that. And then you talk about we are fighting for this independence. We are going to land in Boya. Almost 90% of those of us sponsoring the war financially and otherwise, we live abroad. But we intend to land in Boya, and to land in Boya smoothly. How are we going to do it? The people at the home front, they know who is who. We are giving the money, we are giving support, but we are not fighting. We are not sitting there fighting. Our brothers and mothers and sisters back home know those who are taxing them illegally, know those who are treating them badly. They are their own children, they know them. So don't think that they don't know you, they know you. So when we are landing, we are trying to avoid the fault of this type of thing. How are we going to do it? The natives understand who is who. It's not just because independence has come tomorrow that everybody will land there and become a leader. Now, the people know it. We are preparing our people, we educate our people. You should be able to know, distinguish. We have a common name this day, they call Amber Boys. Amber Boys is nobody. It's used to paint anybody black. And so the ones they call Amber Boys, they are the very boys back home there, extorting money from the people, killing them, raping women in the name of Amber Boys. Our people know them. When the time comes, and it is coming soon, they will not suddenly disappear, but the landing will be smooth. For we can identify them and say, look, you are the wrong person. You are the wrong person. You have done this, you have done that, you have done that. And when we get there, we will talk of a transition of 3 years. I'm not sure that I've ever read a decree that was ever signed by Fanshawe or by Ndele appointing somebody left and right. No. Mayors were elected. Councillors were elected. The people chose their own leaders from the grassroots to the top. And so that is what will happen during the transition. There will be a free and fair election. People will campaign. It is not me and you alone will go and vote. We probably will have a vote, but the majority of the voters will be back home. They will judge people by their own merit, not by appointments. Where a certain man will sit in Boya and decree, you are the governor of Bamunda, you are the governor of Kambe. Whether you like him or not, he's there. That is not going to happen. We are going to have a smooth transition where people will choose their leaders, a new constitution will be in place. We should make things easier. Difficult for grabbers, difficult for criminals. And again, throughout this, if I can revisit this again, we have been in this struggle for a number of years. And we have talked about, conversations about humility. Leadership must go with humility. And I've learned something, whether people like it or not, criticize me or don't criticize me, I've learned something about humility from nobody else but President Sako. This is a guy, whether you like him or not, insult him the way you want, call him any name you want. There's no eye, there's no doctrine of an eye for an eye. He doesn't insult you in return. He understands that some of the insults are because you don't understand. Some of the insults might be because you have suffered some pain. They have killed your brother, they have killed your sister. You expected this war to end in 48 hours. It is still going on. He takes the pains to explain. He does not retort in insult. He does not call you bad names because you call him a bad name. He simply makes his point and tries to educate you. That is a mark of leadership we want. Leaders who will be tolerant, who will know that the whole community of Ambazonians, 8 million people, 10 million people, are not one man. They reason differently. They react differently. But they are the community of people that you are having leadership over them. That's whole Ambazonia. The same thing will go down to a local council. Call it Bamenda Council. All people who live in Bamenda or in Victoria are not one man. If the council has 1 million people, 500,000 people, they have 500,000 minds, 500,000 different ways of reacting. And if you are lucky to be elected a mayor there, you have to learn to deal with them. That's why these people will come angry. They will throw you stones. People who live in London know. Even when the Queen passed, they throw an egg on the Queen, who is supposed to be an untouchable in the British community. People show their anger, they throw an egg at him or at her. It's not because they did not see a stone. They saw a stone, they could throw a stone and break her head. But they throw an egg that will crash, soil her dresses that can be washed. And the authority will know that, well, these people are angry. That is the culture we are cultivating in Ambazonia. Not the kangaroo thing that we have in Yaoundé, duplicating evil, a group of armed robbers, trained and licensed armed robbers. If you criticize them, they lock you up. If you say and a Kang Betty man is bad, everybody wishes your death for thereby forever criticizing them. That's not what we're looking for. That's not what will happen to us. We will land smoothly. And then I can go again to the second item, which you said, the unethical treatment of Southern Cameroon by the United Nations. I have read a lot about history. I don't know any other country in the world that has suffered the type of treatment that was given to us in 1961.
Yeah.
I don't want to accuse France that we're accusing all the time. No, I accuse Great Britain. I don't know any other country in Africa that got independent by joining. This was an invention of the British in 1959. Good reasons in 1852. What was independence by joining? But even if that was the best thing, I don't know any other trust territory that was given to any country to administer that was divided into factions. Why were there two plebiscites? 1852 again. Why was the British insisting on that? They were given one child to bring up, take care of this child until the child gets big, gets married, have a home. He divided the child into pieces, like King Solomon. Let us divide the child. And that's what they did. That's unethical. That was a total failure of the whole trust system. Yes, France was given one. Yes, they gave their own people very bad independence. But nonetheless, they gave them independence. They gave them independence as the entity that was entrusted to them. The same entity was entrusted to France in Togo, because Togo was the same thing as Southern Cameroon, a German colony. It was broken into two. One part to be administered by France, another part to be administered by the Great British, by UK. The UK refused to give independence to their own. They joined it to Ghana. The French, as inadequate as they were, they gave them independence, which today they can fight back and drive away France. So these people were so unethical to us. And if you read the resolutions, after 1352 of 1959, they came out with this nonsense of independence by joining. Then they soon realized that this was wrong. They passed, just a year after, they passed 1514. They said, look, if people must join, this is how they should do it. They were not satisfied with that again. They went the next day and passed 1541 and said, look, even if they were to join, this is how it should happen. People should maintain their status. And of course, a year after that, they purported to give us independence by joining, without even mentioning a reference to the resolution they passed 1514 and 1541. This is beyond ethics. This is wickedness. If the United Nations were an individual, they should be prosecuted for that. So these people treated us with criminal intent, not nonchalance. No, they treated us with criminal intent. And that's why we're suffering today. And the British are silent. The United Nations is silent. And so, as far as that is concerned, that is what I will tell you, that we were so badly treated by the United Nations in 1961. And of course, we are losing lives and losing thousands and millions of people in the face of the unveiled silence, in the face of the unveiled crimes. Independence by joining, that had never existed anywhere else in the world. Countries joined after independence. USS Arrow was there. The Union has broken off, people have gone aside, broken apart. Zambia, Tanganyika joined with Ireland. Senegal joined with Gambia.
Yeah.
After independence, they have separated. So how ethical was this nonsense of the United Nations in 1961 vis-a-vis British Southern Cameroon or Ambazonia today? So they were unethical, they were shamelessly criminal. It's not just beyond, it's beyond ethics. They were criminals. Again, if there were a possibility to prosecute them and send them to jail, if that was an individual, they would go to jail for life if I were a judge there. Thank you very much for that. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Barrister Mbesa. I mean, those very, very wonderful points. And the thing is, we are the ones crying about the unjust treatment given to us. The funny thing is, a good number of our people, educated and learned people, prefer to go along with the lies and the half-truths told by La République and the powers that be, who, of course, do not want to accept their wrongdoings and then correct them, which is their duty. So it is our duty also to educate those of us who are so ignorant and do not know what the truth is about our real history that had been hidden from us up till 6-7 years ago, where the first 24-hour Ambazonia broadcasting station was put out, and and people started having all that information. But of course, there are some of us who are willfully ignorant, willfully blind. They have their privileged positions that they inherited from their parents, and they would like to go in and out of La République, do their businesses, visit their people at the expense of our people being killed, and they turn it around and say, oh, it is the Amba who are causing war and all that. No, they are only there defending themselves from brutal occupiers who are against talking about our independence quest. Remember, even the crooked SDF party years back brought the issue to the La République Parliament, and 70 to 80% of that parliament, composed of the ruling CPDM, walked out. So they prefer to send their beer killers to to kill that independence out of our people than talking about it. So those are the people, so the type of people we are dealing with. Thank you very much, Mr. So, yeah, from Retanshi, you also talked about building a better Ambazonia from past experiences and about the action plan of HSS for a post-war Ambazonia. Please shed more light on that. Thank you. We don't hear you.
Apologies for that. Apologies. I
Good.
went mute and I forgot. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
anyway.
Before I go on to those two topics, thanks, Barrister Mbesa. You just mentioned that land grabbing. It's true. You just mentioned that the land grabbing, though we treated FACO, it's not only done in FACO, because in my own LGA, the same land was returned to my local chief, who really just, the administration returned it to the chief, and he immediately just gave it back, all back to the administrators and all the people who were there, and the locals really just had nothing. Well, so but it's in their area, and all they just, the land was grabbed back. The bad thing about the grabbing is there was no planning. It's just divided into small pieces, 100 square meters, 1,000 square meters, and distributed with no planning. So you have a large piece of land. There is no provision for a market, no provision for a school, no provisions for communal activities that could take place. Nothing, nothing. It's just a piece of chaos. But if that is done, and then we're done with appropriate planning, then you can provide all those other facilities, and then the land distributed as in a nice way, which is no visionary way of dishing out the land really, and just let the administration grab it all back. Okay, thanks for that. One of the things that two of the programs we discussed was building a better Ambazonian from past experiences, and the other one is the action plan for the HSS for post-war. Let's take the first one, building a better Ambazonia from past experiences. This is, the greatness of a country, like it or not, is its economy. And our leaders really had that vision. When I was growing up, I saw coffee in tins, which was Santa coffee, right? It was written tins produced. So, and this coffee was first from the nursery, right up to planting, right up to the factory, all in Santa, and then marketed out in tins, which were already coffee. So, can you imagine the number of people who were employed from that nursery right up to the harvesting and drying, and then producing the coffee, tinning it, and then sending out? So that type of experience, I saw new tea, the same type of thing from nursery to the harvesting of the tea to the value adding, packaged, and then exported. Same with toilet tea. All those things don't more exist. So, how many jobs have been lost in that? How many of our people made jobless, or maybe it would have been a bigger factory now? Other things would have included, maybe not only tea, not only coffee. We might have now progressed to doing same as we do with fever grass, or with foolery, package it and sell. It would have been a much bigger factory. So we would use this experience. I've just taken these two examples. There are other ones, right? Like Produce Marketing Board, how the price of this material and coffee was stabilized by putting that type of institutions, which were great. So we would use that past experience to make Ambazonia greater than what it was before. The banking
Yes.
institution, we would support them. So we will use that visionary past experience from our leaders to build such institutions. We would promote education. One of the things is educational system. We know that they were providing good education. There was the CAS Bambili, which they were, and then they were doing the agri school, which were to be uplifted to university, but it never happened. We are now aware that they were doing that for good, and we have better experience that there is the education that is being provided now has a problem. We will modify it in such a way, using that parable, we will modify it for an educational system in which it empowers students. Technology has gone up. It's no more cramming things and regurgitating it to the teachers. Maybe it was good that you could teach people to read and write, and then fill the public services and provide the basics. We've had that. We now have to modify the educational system in such a way that we would manufacture, put it in that way in quotes, entrepreneurs, right? People through the school system, they will understand how running basic, what it means to run a company, even basic, what means to do production. No more of growing and then selling. You grow, you value art before you then sell. No dig and sell. You dig, you value art, and then before you can sell or it serves the purpose. All this chain of things that we do will provide employment. So we are using that past experience that they were able to produce in those days and do it now at a bigger scale. We would adapt the educational system to change the mindsets of our children, give them the knowledge, the skills to be able to be entrepreneurs. So that is one of the things we run in that program, which is which would really propel our Ambazonia very fast ahead, right? We know we've been dragged back for 60 years by closing all these industries. We will bring them all back. We know we will be great because our economy will be great, right? Then the other program we ran was the action of the HSS for Post Ambazonia, which is Health and Social Services. Now, again, we're also using the past here because when I was growing up, we went to hospital. There was a pharmacy in the hospital. Yes, you can have pharmacy hospital. Maybe do it differently, which will provide the basics. But in an ethical way, we looked at it at different levels. The people who would be running the hospital, that the health practitioners, the doctors, the nurses, the technicians, what are the ethics of it, and what do you plan for them? They should treat the patient with lots of respect. No shouting at pregnant women. No, the idea of that it will be abolished. The idea that practitioners come to the hospital, have a box of medicine by the side, that is really pure conflict of interest, which a box of medicine there that when they prescribe, you say, no, I have this medicine, you can just buy it off me. That is conflict of interest because you can even give the wrong medicine just because you want to get money out of that patient. That if that is to be done, it should be done in the pharmacy of which is run by the hospital. If not run by that, it should be run by the out of the hospital by the private sector. So those type of ideas would HSS is planning it wouldn't take place again. It endangers the health of the patient. Right? And then the other thing is we've still on the health professional, we just noticed that patients can really be abused by practitioners because they are in a position of power. So what HSS in that program plan is they would do ethics training for all health professionals, which would they would renew the training on annual basis so that they should be in line how to treat their patients, how they should avoid conflict of interest during the work and all that. And then on the other side of things is the patient. Sometimes the patients they are not treated ethically because they lack knowledge of their rights as patients. So mostly this will go either through other institutions like schools or churches where they are educated with their rights as a patient, what you expect, what type of behavior you expect from a health practitioner when you go to a hospital. If you go there and you are not treated the way you think you are supposed to be treated, or you think you are abused by a health practitioner, there would be a line of communication for you to report that out by whistleblowing. Those HSS is planning to do that. They would put out that line you can use. If not, you can talk to another health practitioner in that environment or higher up the administration. If you are not comfortable, just use the whistleblowing line to know that you are right as a patient to be respected. So those are some of the things that HSS has in stock. Another one is at the level of the state. What has you as state? What have you for HSS? So they told us they would build health or renovate health facilities at LGA level, county levels, and then zonal levels and national levels. At the national levels, there will be, no matter where it's located, that would be specialized institutions, might be specialized for, I don't know, bone or obstetrician, or I don't know the names, Dr. Ndola. There would be specialized institutions where uh, uh, they name them. I don't know. They can now go at that level, but at lower level, it will be
Situations.
more broad-based. It will be more broad-based so that more people would be taken at that level. But as you go higher, you make it specialized so that they can take from one general unit into a specialized unit. So that's the plan HSS said they have for us, and they will provide the infrastructure and the equipment and the personnel for that and train them for that. So those
Yes.
were some of the um, things that HSS has post war for Ambazonians. You know, this we are thinking of this and all in an ethical fashion. So please be very, very optimistic when we get there with the right leadership that we are also empowering people to be. That would really be great. So are the things we discussed in those programs.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. And yes, I also remember they telling us, I mean, there will not only be um, um, an infrastructure on the ground as regards hospitals and personnel, but also a direct connection with all our experts in the diaspora, being Ambazonians in the diaspora. And it will be telemedicine and will be the envy of, many Africans and other health care systems. So, yes, there were two, thank you very much. There were two topics we also talked about: environmental ethics and can war be ethical? So, talking about the environment, I mean, we see it is just rampant back home. It is the duty of the government to take care of the environment and, of course, of every citizen, starting with hygiene, with healthcare, health facilities, and starting from the family, around the family home, how the environment is, how conducive such an environment is for healthy living, like the sanitization, the We have mostly pit toilets back home that, if left uncovered and not well cared for, can breed flies that will transmit. Diseases can be transmitted by flies and other insects onto humans, onto food, and drinking water could be contaminated, and wells being dug. One will have to know that around such wells providing drinking water, that there be no hazardous hazardous
Waste.
material waste. Exactly, thank you. And all those things were actually being seen into in an autonomous Ambazonia in the 50s and the 60s. We had sanitation prefects who did not, who really frowned at all such on behavior, and they would go from family to family and see to it that compounds are kept clean. So that is starting to take care of the environment at the family level, at the micro level, and now at the town level. There was community labor to clean up streets and to clean up public places. There were public toilets which were being catered for, and so the government was also responsible for enforcing these rules, and for taking care of the gross environment, and not allowing pollution by whatever waste or whatever substances to take place. Like, there was a case where, like in Nigeria, there is this years back, there is this international ruling that waste from nuclear plants should not be dumped in other countries. But if there is the receiving authority gives their permission, and then that could be done. So some years back, as Nigeria was under a military rule, some corrupt officials accepted an Italian ship to bring their nuclear waste, and it was on board a ship that was still on the shore. So the military government got wind of it, and kudos to them. They saw to it that that ship within hours had to leave the shores of Nigeria and go back to where they came from. So we see that environmental ethics was high on the agenda for them, and they saw to it they prevented their people from being contaminated with such waste, which is hazardous for life. So had it been there was like much corruption in such a government, such a thing would not have happened, because the authority would have taken money and then allowed such things to happen, like it is happening in La Republique. And there are rules which go against, and people are to be fined and maybe kicked out of office, or even imprisonment for violating such rules. And so we talked again about if war can be ethical. Well, yes, specifically about the genocidal war waged upon us by La Republique du Cameroon. Some people say, oh yeah, war is not a good thing. You people, the Amba, they are causing war, they are killing people. We say that is nonsense. There is a genocidal war declared upon southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, and our people who have the legitimate right to defend themselves are doing just that. And it is a war zone, so people should be careful how they go about, how they do their things, and respect country Sundays, Mondays that are ghost town days. And in cases where life your life is at stake, be it from your own wicked government or from whoever. You have the legitimate right to protect yourself. So what is happening in Ambazonia is, on the one side, unethical, in the sense that La République has no ethical grounds, has no valid reason to go on killing people for something that could be debated upon, something that is so clear that they want to hide from us. And ethical in the sense that from our side, from the side of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, our people have the right to defend themselves. And if it comes to a war, then so be it. But they will not just lay there and then allow themselves be butchered because they talk about the independence of Amazonia, which things that are a fact that were hidden from us, that was denied, was granted to us 62 years ago, and then somehow not implemented. So in that case, it is ethical to defend yourselves when somebody is coming to take away your life because you stand for the truth, because you stand for justice, and for the restoration of the independence of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. So there is no question about it that our people are engaging in anything unethical. If any party is doing something that is very unethical, it is the genocidal La République regime waging war upon us, upon the sovereign nation of Southern Cameroon's Aka Ambazonia. So thank you all very much for the presentation today. And yeah, there is always this patriotic statement that we put out. We read a part of our code of ethical conduct. We read it out to the public, and I will do it in a moment. But yeah, I would like you people to give your closing remarks on today's presentation. Starting with you, Vice Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ndula. I think we have been following this thing for long, and then it's good for us to do, well, as we have always done, corrections if they are needed. See, we have discussed greed a lot as something very unethical. You see, we are talking about Ambazonia. I started this segment with a lawyer. Who is a lawyer? What about lawyers? And so on and so forth. They are the same in every profession. You are not a bad lawyer because you didn't go to a law school. A bad lawyer went to the same law school like a good one. They sat on the same bench probably with Lord Dennis and other international judges. But they became bad because of the choices they made, because of their own greed of what they thought they would get out of the practice. That happens the same thing in all professions. And it happens a lot in this Ambazonian struggle. For example, when you see people preaching a federation, they are Ambazonians preaching federation, not East Cameroonians. They are asking federation. Who are those preaching federation? Among them are some of our best minds. They are PhD holders. They are lawyers. So you are not foolish because you lack the academic qualification. No. Some people who have attained the highest peak of education may not be sufficiently intelligent. They just misjudge issues. And so to them, I would ask, for example, yes, you want a federation. Have you asked, we read the same books, we read the same texts, all these United Nations resolutions. What happened to the earlier federation that you want to return to? What happened to it? Paul Biya, he tried to kill it. He killed it halfway. Paul Biya came and eliminated the whole thing. So what gives you the impression that the next president of La Republic will not just wipe you out? Is it because you lack the education? No, you're a PhD holder. You're a great lawyer. So it's just a misjudgment. Not just a misjudgment, it's greed. Because under the present dispensation, somebody will make you appointed with a piece of paper to become a governor, to become a prefect. Those appointments go with a lot. They go with material wealth. They go with cash. They go with equipment. They go with all those things. And to dream that you want a federation because you get this sort of things is pure greed. It's not lack of education. No, it's just greed. And so you ask the same question again. What is there that you want that we who are against it have not cited in the resolutions of the United Nations? We have read the same resolutions. Today, you don't need to be a PhD holder to read those. You can go down and get them online. And so, greed is not because we lack the formal education. No, it is because we decide to sell ourselves cheap. Greed is something so unethical that the ethics must frown against it. And so, as we progress into Ambazonia, we must be prepared to be a nation of the best educated, but of the least greedy people who can find. I remember I cited this example here before. In the West Cameroon, there was somebody from Santa, Tansi might know him, who was called Samofo. I'm not sure if Samofo ever passed class 7. But Samofo made his name in the House of Assembly in Boya. Now, me Samofo this. He made a name, he represented the people. Is it because there was nobody from Santa? No. The Children were there already. Were educated people. But Samofo, a half illiterate, made a point. He was, when they were even transferring people to Yaoundé to go to the Federal Assembly, they didn't even put his name there. But he had made a point. We need people like that. People who will go on foot, who understand what they are out for, who will leave greed. People have accused Fancha. He did all they were appointing vice president. If he did that, that is greed. You cannot say the whole nation just because we want to get a post. The same thing should apply to us. Greed shall not be part of our leadership. But in order to make it be part of the leadership, we have to set up the structures that will avoid that of imagination. That somebody, as I've said before, will sit in Boya and make you the president of Akwaya, will sit in Boya and make you the superior chief of Free Kankan. No, that will not happen in Ambazonia. These ambitions must be killed institutionally, legally killed, constitutionally demolished, so that we'll go to be a new Ambazonia with a different mindset. That's what it is. The professor Ngole, for example, who came out popular and said that, well, Southern Cameroon independence was submerged to this Cameroon independence. It's not because they lack. That's the university professor with a PhD from somewhere in the United States. Is it because he doesn't know? No, he knows it very, very well. But because he occupies a better position in Yaoundé, he thinks that he will live forever with that thing. So he must coin the story to please his paymaster general. That will not happen in Ambazonia. Who thinks that Atangaji is so dull? Now, Atangaji, who was moved from prison to become a minister, he knows the value of imprisonment. He knows the value of being a minister. So he will do everything out of his greed to own that position. That will not happen in Ambazonia. As we go down 2024, as we approach 2024, let all Ambazonian children, young and old, have this mindset that the country will set, maybe hopefully by the close of 2024, will be an ideal country where people will aspire for something. People will get it by merit. And in politics, you get it by vote. And by vote, it should be a free and fair election for everybody to compete, where they beat the professor. The veterinarian can beat the university professor. And so be it. That's how we progress. Hopefully, 2024 is going to take us to the final goal. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Comrade Tanshi? remarks?
Yeah, Barrister Mbehesa, yeah, thanks for that. I like that word mindset, really change of mindset. And it's not about education, it's the mindset. Talking about Shamu for yes, I know him very well. I was a dormitory mate with one of his sons, so I know him very well. He had the right mindset, but he didn't have the education. So let's go to the summary of the year. Yeah, the word is mindset, and that mindset, give it to the leaders, or they acquire it, or if they have it, they develop it more. So that is why we put that program, qualities of leadership quality. So it's developing the mindset, and that is why we're taking it into schools, developing the students' right mindset. And that is why we're thinking of using the past to move ourselves forward. We were an industrial, we were to be an industrial producing, we were manufacturing country, but we were pulled back, we've been pulled back. We would use that past, we would be a producing country, and we would be great with all this. So those are some of the programs, summary, those three in my head. So thank you for viewing. Thank you for all our viewers on ABC, those on Facebook, and those on YouTube. Have a nice week.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now a quick reading of our rule today. It talks about limitations on the acceptance of gifts, rewards, hospitality, and discounts. Some commercial organizations, such as airlines or ferry companies, may offer no-cost and/or complimentary travel by offering vacant seats or places to elected members and/or employees for use on official business. Such an offer must not be accepted without prior appropriate high-level approval in certain special instances, and there must be an associated application of strict agency accountability practices, as it may lead to the suspicion of improper relations between the company making the offer and the government. So any elected government official and any Ambazonian at all, beware of gifts that are given to you when you hold a position that might implicate you. If you offer any services to that person, it might be seen as conflict of interest. With that said, we thank, on behalf of Maduro Tingwa, the Chair of Ethics Commission, I thank you both panelists and all Ambazonians for watching this show. It's not only to watch, but to learn, to apply it, learn your interim constitution, learn the ethics code of conduct, and in every county there is that template for complaint, how you complain, you lodge your complaint to the Ethics Commission, not just go out on social media and be the accuser, the judge, and the punisher at the same time. That's not the Ambazonia we want to build. We want an ethical Ambazonia, starting from now in the diaspora until when soon we get our independence in Buea. So thank you all and have a nice day. Goodbye.
From the Savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you prepared? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as the moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians, watch Ethics for an Emerging Ambazonia every Friday at 4 p.m. Amba time.
Exclusively on ABC Amba TV. Stay tuned.